So let's sort it out. So let's have a look. And Instagram should be going live right now. Okay, good. I think we're good. So let's get going. Okay, so today we're going to talk about getting paid with Section 8 and to avoid delays and why we have delays and, and what you can do to avoid getting delayed on your money. There's lots of different ways, why payments are delayed or even abated or stopped. So we're going to kind of do a deep dive into that today. So let's get going. So that's get paid, no excuses. Fix your Section 8 delay. How smart investors stay paid, stay profitable, and stay ahead. So let's have a look. What's the backdrop to all this? It's pretty straightforward, really. The question is, what's more nerve-wracking than watching your rental income disappear because Section 8 payments didn't really show up on time? And do you know why? So, one of the great things about the Section 8 program is that the rent is quote unquote guaranteed, i.e., keeps on coming every month as long as the tenant is there. Now, that's true until it stops coming. And then then you need to figure out why it's, stopped. So every experienced landlord, no matter how seasoned, has felt the gut tightening anxiety. I've had it when my payments didn't arrive. Obviously, if it doesn't arrive, it means cash flow stops. Your frustration level probably rises, and you quickly realize that something is not right. Something is wrong, in fact. But getting answers, especially from the housing authority, it can sometimes feel impossible, very, very frustrating. Yet, really, despite these challenges, Section 8, in my opinion, remains one of the most reliable income streams. There's no way I could have survived this length of time as a landlord if it wasn't because of the Section 8 program. Absolutely no way. It's very reliable income stream, and but it's only reliable if you understand really how it works. So today we're going to kind of do a deep dive into that. How does it really work, and how do we ensure that your payments keep on coming? Because the investors who thrive, we don't just simply quote unquote hope that our payments arrive. We build systems, we develop relationships, and develop strategies that prevent delays and protect our cash flow. Okay, so what we're going to do today is talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly truths behind the Section 8 delays. Why does it occur, and what can you do as an investor to prevent that? So we're going to draw on my experiences, and also from other successful and unsuccessful landlords. And so we'll break down what separates, those who consistently get paid from those who constantly struggle. More importantly, we'll do a step-by-step through strategies, and things that you can do to avoid hitting a crisis point. And we're going to diagnose problems early. We're going to stay ahead of the recertifications, manage tenant compliance, navigate housing authority bottlenecks, and also those issues. So if you want long-term stability, reliable income, and the confidence that your cash flow won't collapse, then this is the message. This is the live stream for it. With no fluff, no theory, just the truth and the tools that you'll need to win. Okay, as usual, I'm going to break it into 6 parts, 1 through 6, and so on. But as usual, if you've got some questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'll get to them about 15-20 minutes from now. Also, if you want to do a deep dive, by all means, you can go to my website and do a one-on-one. Press on the link for the Ask Dr. Joe, and you can schedule a one-on-one with me. We can do a deep dive like I did one yesterday with David, and I had a great time. He's a new investor. Well, he's an investor who's moving into the Washington, D.C. area, and we kind of talked about do's and don'ts and what he should be looking out for as he enters the Washington, D.C. market. So we can do a deep dive. We had a really good time, and I think he's definitely on the right track. Okay, so let's go through the 6 parts of today's live stream, and we'll start off with number 1, understanding where Section 8 delays really come from. The question is, how can you fix a payment problem if you don't really know what's actually causing it at all? So you can't fix a problem if you don't know the cause, or you can fix a problem but it helps more efficient if you know what the problem is. So one of the biggest lessons learned from experienced landlords is this: Section 8 delays almost never come from where you think they do. Okay, many investors, we blame the housing authority, but when you dig deeper, you find out the real root causes lies in the inspections, tenant paperwork, or even miscommunications long before a payment ever stops. Okay, so there's something that caused that payment to stop, and it's really important to understand what it is, and therefore you can take corrective action. So successful investors like you and I hopefully understand that the entire payment workflow, things like how the tenant recertification, with a Section 8 program, a tenant has to recertify. Generally, it's once every year or once every 2 years to participate in the program. So if they don't recertify, that can affect your payments. Another reason is that your rent that you're charging has to be quote unquote reasonable. So there's delays due to that. And sometimes there's missing documents you didn't provide, or the tenant didn't provide the appropriate documentation, so they stop your payments and so on. So so really you have to see this as a whole system, and you start reacting to problems and really start anticipating them. Because if you can anticipate problems, you can take proactive action. The best landlords always keep detailed records, so we can trace a delay back to the exact step where it originated. Also, unsuccessful investors rely on guesswork, and guesswork costs you money. So, so this is the first step in this thing, is really to understand where the delays are coming from, because then you can take the necessary action. So part two today is a common one, which is delays due to failures of inspection. This can be a killer, a silent killer, as they say. So the question is, how many Section 8 payments have you lost because of a repair that could have been fixed weeks earlier? As you know, the Section 8 program requires what we call a HQS, Housing Quality Standard Inspections, usually initially before the tenant moves in, and either annually or biannually once the tenant's in the house. Inspectors come around the house, they check for health and safety. They check the windows, the doors, the smoke detectors, the carbon monoxide detectors, the plumbing systems. They check the appliances. They check a whole bunch of different things, and pertaining to health and safety. So most of the delays are due to that, and they can be preventable. Experienced investors know what a failed inspection just doesn't lead to repairs. It can trigger what we call abatement, stop the payments, or even suspensions from the from the program. So many unsuccessful landlords learn this the hard way when they realize the housing authority has stopped their money because they missed the deadline when they had to fix or correct a particular problem. And so we successful investors, we try to stay ahead of these issues. We take inspections very, very seriously, and it's almost like I don't know, like a business critical event. We prepare for it thoroughly. We, at least I do anyway. I prepare my tenants, let them know, please go through the house, make sure there's nothing wrong. If there's any issues, please let me know. We take care of preventative maintenance schedules, and so on. Hold on a second. Let me show everything's okay. Okay, yeah. Yep. So we're good. So I mean, yeah. So it's we try to stay ahead of these issues as it pertains to inspection. We prepare the property, as I said before. We also understand that not all the inspectors are the same. You get some good ones, very thorough ones, some challenging ones, and therefore it's really important to document if there's ever an issue. The most common reasons why inspections fail, at least for Section 8, are things like loose railings, missing plates from the electrical outlets, cracked windows, old smoke detectors, peeling paint. You may think these are minor, but they're failed items. And if you don't correct it in a timely manner, your payments could get stopped. So, something simple could end up costing you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So you have to anticipate what inspectors are looking for, and you try to eliminate them beforehand. That's number two. So let's go to number 3. It's another common one is rent reasonableness. Rent reasonableness, and really how misunderstanding it can delay your money. Rent reasonableness. That's an interesting term. And the question, I suppose, is: are you losing months of rent because you don't understand how the rent reasonableness actually works? So, what is rent reasonableness is one of the most misunderstood aspects of Section 8. Many landlords assume that once a rent is approved, it's set for the year. Well, but successful investors know that the rent reasonableness evaluations happen at several times: move-in, annually, and whenever a landlord requests a rent increase. So if this process, so if you when the tenant moves in, the housing authority has to approve the rent that you're requesting. So they have to do what we call a rent reasonableness study to make sure that your rent is quote unquote reasonable. And there's lots of different things that goes into that, probably beyond the scope of this live stream. But it just just the most important thing is that you just can't charge whatever you want. They have to. This is the housing authority has to confirm that the rent that you're asking is within the range that they consider to be reasonable. So what's reasonable for you may not be reasonable to them, and vice versa. Also, whenever you request a rent increase, they also do a rent reasonableness study to make sure that the rent that you're requesting is in fact okay. And this is where the funny part comes in, because if you request a rent that's not reasonable, they, in theory, could reduce the rent that you already have. So if you're, let's say, getting $1,000 and you say you want to get a rent increase to $1,200, and they actually find out that, well, the rents in your area have gone down to 900. So by you requesting an increase to 1,200, you end up with a rent reduction to 900. Okay, because at that time, when you requested the rent increase, the reasonableness said that it was 900 instead of 1,000. I've been caught with that one a couple of times. It's be tricky. Be careful when you request a rent increase to make sure you do your necessary due diligence first. So so again, you can submit a rent increase. If you do that, you have to make sure you provide supporting data and you have realistic expectations, because otherwise your increase could get rejected, and there could be some delays. So the best landlords, best practices, hopefully like you and I, we do market count comps. We use the guidelines, FMR, small area fair market rents guidelines. And we also look at neighborhood rent trends to build a strong case before we even submit our request. We know exactly how to negotiate professionally and persistently without damaging relationships with the housing authority staff. So understanding this process also helps investors position their units correctly. So in short, successful landlords know when they can push for the maximum rent and when they should accept a reasonable compromise to ensure stability and avoid delays. So that's number 3. Yeah, so halfway through. Moving right along, as usual, I'm going to go to my questions shortly. So if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box and I'll answer them very, very shortly. And likewise, if you want to do a one-on-one with me, you can always go to my website, joe@joeasamoah.com. Sorry, joeasamoah.com, and request a one-on-one where we can do a deep dive into your specific issue, whether it be a landlord issue, a tenant issue, financing issues, or construction issue, whatever it is. You can book a one-on-one with me. We can do a deep dive. Okay, moving right along to number 4. Paperwork, tenant paperwork, the hidden factor behind most delays. The hidden factor behind most delays is the tenant paperwork, or the lack of compliance with the paperwork. So if the tenant doesn't submit the paperwork, do you know how quickly you'll stop getting paid? This has happened to me many, many years ago. Many landlords assume that payment delays are housing authority issues. But in countless cases, it's the tenant that didn't provide the documentation. It's the tenant is the bottleneck, not the housing authority, but it's the tenant. So late submission of recertification documents, missing pay stubs, inaccurate household information, or failing to attend appointments can trigger automatic payment suspension. So the tenant didn't do their part, and it could end up with you not getting paid. Okay. I've had that once whereby a tenant didn't certify it on time. And so she was terminated from the program. And once she was terminated from the program, my payments were stopped. I have to end up evicting her. It's a crazy story, but wasn't because of the housing authority. It's just because the tenant didn't provide the documentation that she needed to do in a timely manner. So how do you address this? Well, successful investors, we build strong relationships with our tenants. So they know what's required and when. They set, we set reminders. We check in regularly with our tenants, and we try to get our tenants to stay organized. So struggling landlords or inexperienced landlords, often take a hands-off approach. They don't bother the tenants. They don't know, only to discover too late that the tenant didn't turn in the critical documents. So the best landlords educate tenants at move-in. We explain how recertification works if they don't know, and what happens when paperwork is late. We make ourselves part of the solution rather than just waiting for chance. Number 5, housing authority processing delays. That's another reason why. What you can and can't control. Sometimes the delays is because of the housing authority, not you. So the question is, are you navigating the housing authority with strategy or relying on hope and guesswork? Are you relying on strategy or a game plan or just guesswork? Well, every investor eventually has to encounter the housing authority delays. I'm going through that right now. We're going through a new lease up, and they're just dragging their feet trying to get the process completed. They have processing backlogs, they've got staffing shortages, they have system changes are common. So, I'm not panicking, but I'm obviously, that's just the reality. So I'm escalating the matter to various management levels, and hopefully we can get it done before the deadline, which is December the 1st. So we understand what they control, or what we can control, what it's outside our control or their control. And so we try to maintain positive relationships, professional relationships with staff. Try to be respectful, patient, and prepared. Hopefully, if you are that, you get better results over time. We don't get angry. We don't curse them out. We don't, beat them up or whatever. We try to document communication, send follow-up emails, and we try to escalate matters if necessary strategically, not emotionally. So unsuccessful landlords often approach the housing authority in frustration, which slows things down even more. So the ones who succeed know that the housing authority has its quote unquote rhythm, and working with that rhythm, not against it, gets better results. And finally, number 6, building an internal system that guarantees you get paid on time. Building internal systems that guarantee you get paid on time. So the question is, if your business relies on Section 8, why don't you have systems that protect your cash flow automatically? If your business relies on Section 8, then why don't you have systems that protect your cash flow automatically? It's a good question. The most successful investors, we don't rely on memory, guesswork, or last minute strangling. We rely on systems. What are the systems? Calendars, checklists, templates, automated reminders, and digital organizations, digital systems to ensure inspections, rent adjustments, certification, and tenant check-ins are never forgotten. Again, to ensure rent adjustments, certification or recertification, and tenant check-ins are never forgotten. We have a calendar, we have reminders, we have templates, we have checklists. So the investors who struggle do the opposite. They don't have anything. They operate reactively, only addressing issues when payment stops. They, they don't build relationships. We build relationships, and because a scalable Section 8 portfolio requires discipline and also requires structure. These systems saves time. The systems reduce stress, and systems prevent income loss. So great investors invest in processes that run, whether they're busy, traveling, dealing with renovations, or managing multiple units. The cash flow remains predictable because their business is predictable. And then finally, in conclusion, in my opinion, Section 8 can be one of the most stable, dependable income sources in your entire real estate portfolio. Take it from me, I believe that if you learn how to manage it strategically, investors who thrive in their program don't rely on luck. We don't. We rely on systems, on preparation, on relationships, on discipline, and also on knowledge. We understand inspections. We track recertifications. We support the tenants if we can, and we escalate professionally. And we anticipate that problems will occur, and and we try to address those problems before it actually happens, and so our payments are never stopped. The truth is simple. Section 8 is not difficult, but it is detailed. Those who respect the details prosper, and those who ignore pay for it literally dearly. If you want long-term success, predictable income, and the confidence to scale your portfolio, well, mastering the Section 8 delays is not optional. It's essential. The lesson in this live stream, hopefully, is that it'll help you avoid mistakes that cost you or may cost you thousands of dollars. And hopefully, if you implement some of the suggestions that I've talked about today, it'll position you to build a stronger, safer, and more profitable rental business. So get paid, stay paid, no excuses. So that, my friends, is the education part for today. And hopefully you've learned something from that. And I'm going to go to the Q&A part shortly. So put your questions in the chat box, and I'll get to them in any second from now. If you want to shoot me an email, you can go to my email, joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. And also, if you want to book a one-on-one with me, you can go to my website, www.joeasamoah.com, www.joeasamoah.com, and you can book a session using the link for Ask Dr. Joe. So that, my friends, is it. So let's get down to the questions, and let's see what we have. Da-da-da. Okay, so we have greetings from Dao2 in Phoenix. Greetings from Phoenix. I'm sure it's warmer in Phoenix than it is over here, I'll tell you that. So it's getting chilly over here. I wish I was in Phoenix at this time. Okay, Nesta Can. I've had a few people on Section 8 stop by my rental to view the property. However, they always seem to be picky about certain things. Okay, and let's continue. One lady stopped by and loved the renovations I did on the property. However, she said she needs a place with bigger bedrooms. Okay, let's continue. They see all the upgrades I've made on the property, and I always let them know I'm a tier 1 landlord. However, they never want the property due to XYZ. Okay. How are you spending your Thanksgiving? Hope all is well. This is from Nesta Cam. Okay, so Nesta Cam's scenario is that he has a property. I'm not too sure exactly where he is. But he has a property. He says it's in good condition. He's made some upgrades to the house, and he's put it out for rent. And when people come, one reason or the other, they're not interested. They're not filling an application. So his property remains vacant. And as it remains vacant, it's costing him money. So okay, so let's do a summary of what I would do if I was in Nesta Cam's situation. So usually people don't want to fill an application based on really 3 things. Okay. 1, the area, the location, the neighborhood. Is it desirable for them? Is it what they want? I'm not saying, I don't know where yours is, so I don't know. I'm assuming yours is in a decent area where they can feel safe. They have access to the desirable features that many tenants want: shopping, recreation, transportation, schools, and things like that. If they don't, then that could be one of the reasons. So neighborhood-based safety. Is it a safe area? Is it a desirable area? Is it a place where they can feel comfortable and want to set up roots? So that's one of the reasons why people don't sometimes fill an application. Second reason is the property itself. They don't like the property for whatever reason. You mentioned that the bedrooms are too small. Well, that could be a reason. Maybe it's just not for them. Use the kitchen, bathrooms, and bedrooms are the big ones for voucher halls I found. And is it upgraded? Are the you know appliances is it desirable? On those things. So things to do with the house. And then the third thing is why they don't rent from you is because of you, the landlord. Maybe I try to be warm, I try to be welcoming, I try to let them know I'm a great landlord and what they can expect from me as a landlord and what my expectations are from them as a tenant. So I share that during the entire process. Another thing that you may want to consider is your marketing. Where are you advertising? And maybe the market where you are is kind of soft, which means that there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of properties being, there are fewer number of people chasing a lot of properties. So there's a competition is high. There's a glut, and so we're kind of in a tenant market where the tenants have the upper hand. I don't know if that's your situation where you are, Nesta can, but lots of different factors. So therefore, you want to look into where are you advertising? What platforms are you advertising? Maybe you want to consider a different platform. Maybe you want to do more creative platform. Maybe you want to go to churches, go to grocery stores, go to community groups, community centers, and kind of be a bit more creative in terms of where you advertise your property, as opposed to the traditional ones in the event that you've already kind of exhausted those. Maybe the tenants just aren't in the right place. Contact the housing authority and find out where do they recommend that you advertise and make sure that you advertise there. You may want to offer incentives to encourage people to come visit the property or to have to fill an application. That could be something that you can do. So, these are examples. What else that you could possibly do? I don't know. I mean, again, it could be just be creative in terms of where you advertise. And I don't think you want to do anything else to your house. So, the bedrooms are what they are. I don't think you're going to rehab the house again. So you have to maybe your advert, your marketing verbiage needs to be looked at, whereby you can make it more desirable, maybe make it more attractive, so you can get the right people, get more people to express interest. So there's, I mean, I can go on and on for this one, but I think you get the gist of where I'm coming from. Look inward. It could be the marketplace, but there are things that you're doing. Landlords, there are some landlords which are still getting tenants. So the question becomes, why not you? How do you differentiate your product from your competition? Can you? Do you have the same thing as everybody else? Is there something that you could do to differentiate yourself? Whether it be in terms of the marketing, maybe the staging. I stage my homes, so it looks like a home as opposed to an empty, quote unquote, house. And so it has warmth, it has emotions. So when people walk through the door, they can visualize themselves in the home. That's what I do. Again, I'm of the mindset that I'm in competition with other landlords to attract the best tenants. So I do what I got to do to differentiate my product. So that's something that I think you may want to consider, Nesta. There's quite a lot I put out there that you may want to try out. And if you want to go do a more deep dive, I would suggest that you schedule a one-on-one with me where we can go further details and I can look at your situation a bit more closer. And maybe we can, have a strategy session where hopefully I can give you some ideas where it'll help you. Okay, so that's a good question, and so on. So if there's any other questions, please put in the chat box, and I'll get to them shortly. Season of Thanksgiving, we're doing good. I think I'm done traveling for the year. I've already done 5 countries. I wanted to do a 6, but I don't think I'll be able to do 6 this year. But I will be going to Ghana. Probably going to be February next year, and hopefully go to Guatemala and sometime in March. And I want to go on a cruise. So if you got some ideas of good cruises I can go on, please let me know. I'm always I enjoyed the last cruise that we did. I went to the Caribbean, went to Mexico, and I had a fantastic time. I loved it. So I think I'll try and do another cruise sometime the next first quarter of next year, if not later part of this year. So okay, so how are you spending your Thanksgiving? Hopefully it's well. I'm gonna be home. I'm not going anywhere. Not traveling. I think I've done enough travel this year, so I'll be here spending time with friends, family, associates, and just be grateful for what I have and try to help other people who are less fortunate, people whose situation is, it's a tough world out here right now. A lot of people are struggling. A lot of my tenants are struggling, and so I'm trying to be a good landlord, trying to be understanding, trying to work with them as they face challenging times. These are not easy times right now. The economy is kind of slow, it's kind of tough, and a lot of people are having financial difficulties. Luckily, with the Section 8 program, the bulk of my rent is coming in. And so I'm not really impacted as much as other people, especially landlords with market rate tenants, especially if they lose their, tenants lose their jobs and things like that. So I'm grateful for the situation, that I'm in. And so let me go to Instagram and see what's up over there. As a first-time investor with 50K cash, I would like to buy 2 properties. This is from One Royal Treatment on Instagram. As a first-time investor with 50K cash, I would like to buy 2 properties. I was told by the housing authority that there is a high demand for 1 and 2 bedrooms. Okay. What have you found to be profitable? I'm in G. Where's G? I suppose Georgia, possibly. Okay, so I in this Washington D.C. area where I'm based, I tend to buy 3 or 4 bedrooms and turn them into 5 and 6 bedrooms, just because of the fact that it's very difficult to cash flow on 1 and 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms. The rents that I get is just not enough, and there's a lot of 1 and 2 bedrooms out here, like apartment buildings for rent and things like that. So I don't generally play in that 1 to 2, 3 bedroom space. I'll leave that for other people, the apartment buildings. I try to cater to people with 4, 5, and 6 bedroom vouchers, which means I have 4, 5, and 6 children. And because of that, I tend to have a larger houses, and I tend to rent to families as opposed to individuals. So I had more success in the larger bedroom count. In the DC area, there's a lot of people with 4, 5, and 6 bedroom vouchers, and it's hard to find houses. So that's the reason why I decided to stay in that niche. So 1 to 2 where you are, 50K seems very reasonable. So you can buy stuff for 50K cash. Okay. I like to buy 2 properties. Okay, good. And so I would confirm that you have a demand for 1 and 2 bedroom houses where you are. And if that's the case, then yeah, that's your niche. I'm just not finding that where I am in the Washington D.C. area. More my niche is more the higher. But speak to them because they know locally at the housing authority where the greatest demand is, where the greatest need is. And if they say 1 to 2 is where the greatest need is, then definitely 0 on that. I would confirm that. Maybe speak to a couple of other caseworkers and just to confirm that. If they sort of confirm that, then that could be your niche where you are. So hopefully that helps. This is from One Royal Treatment. I think you're in G. So G was probably Georgia, possibly, and so on. So again, if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up for today. It's about 7:38. And I want to wish you guys a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving. And hopefully you can spend time with friends, family, associates, loved ones, people you care for. And although it may be tough for you, there's always somebody somewhere who's got it worse than you. There's always somebody somewhere who would love to be in your position, in your shoes. So be grateful for what you have and it could always be worse. So again, um, yeah, I look forward to helping you on your journey to real estate in success. And I'm looking forward to, I think 2025 was a pretty good year from my perspective anyway. And I'm looking forward to 2026. And let's have a look. We've got a couple of people. Thank you, Dr. Joe. Good advice. Pali. Oh, is this Manish? Hi, Manish. I think this is you, Manish. Long time. Hope you're doing well. Where you are, I know you're the guru of I think Airbnb and short-term rentals. I don't know if you're still in that space, but hope it's going well where you are. And yeah, so I'm feeling a lot better now. So I wasn't feeling too good a couple of weeks ago after I came back from my trip to the Caribbean and also to Atlanta. But my voice is back. I'm good to go and raring to go. So yes, Manish. Hi, Manish. It's good to communicate with you. Hope you're all is well. Maybe we can catch up one day if you're still in the Washington D.C. area. I mean, I know you're a big shot single family rental, short term rental, sorry, space, and so we have more than 50 properties now. My goodness, wow, good for you. I'm impressed. So yeah, Manisha's done fantastic, and I'm really, really happy for you, and hopefully continue success. So I just didn't have much success in the short-term rental space. I had one short-term rental and decided to turn that into long-term rentals. Yeah, so I tried it, been there, done that. It didn't work for me, but obviously Manish has really nailed it, and kudos to him and people like him. It's a good guy. So, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up for today and look forward to. Let's have a look. Got another one on Instagram. They also have a demand for 5 bedrooms, but I can't afford that starting out. Okay, that's fine. This is from One Royal Treatment on Instagram. Yeah, I mean, I say my market is I just buy 3 bedrooms and add extra bedrooms to get into 5. That's how I'm able to cash flow in this expensive market in the Washington D.C. area. Okay, I think that's it. So with that said and done, could not do it without you. That's Manish. Okay, guys, have yourself a fantastic Thanksgiving, and God willing, I'll see you next Wednesday. And so take care. Bye for now.